I know Bobby Green said he wants to fight in December. Maybe he can have a fight in December. Maybe this fight could be in December. But I think there's rumors of a UFC Fight Night Auckland card, and I think we need Bobby Green versus Dan Hooker. That would be an amazing fight. We need to see this fight. Two legends of the sport, two fucking absolute bangers. And like I said in my prediction for Grant Dawson versus Bobby Green, why does Bobby Green not get a main event against strikers? You keep putting him in these main events against grapplers. Well, let's give him a fucking striker, somebody who's going to bang with him like Dan Hooker. This would be an amazing fight. It would be a fun fight. It'd be a fucking banger. It'd be a cool fight to see. Dan Hooker coming off a big underdog win over Jarlin Turner. Everyone thought Turner was like the next big thing at lightweight. He had a competitive fight with Mateus Gamrot as well. And then Dan Hooker fucking did the old little, you know, next gen fraud check to the lightweights. He fraud another next gen lightweight. Fucking beats the shit out of Jarlin Turner for the last 2 rounds. Almost knocks him out like two times in that fight, and then he gets the win in a fight of the night against Jarlin Turner. Bobby Green, massive underdog against Grant Dawson, and then goes in there and 33 seconds into the fight, he knocks out Grant Dawson. Both of these guys are big underdogs that the UFC were trying to get rid of. Well, let's make the most out of out of the UFC's loss, because they wanted Grant Dawson to win, they wanted Jarlin Turner to win, they wanted these younger guys to win, but unfortunately they didn't. And for the UFC, instead of going in there and feeding Bobby Green or Dan Hooker to some young up and comer, let's make this fight Bobby Green versus Dan Hooker in Auckland. Come on. It'd be a sick fight. It'd be an awesome main event. Maybe if they can do it quick enough, do December 2nd, that could main event that card. There's still no main event for the UFC fight not on December 2nd. Maybe you could do Bobby Green versus Dan Hooker. I'm pretty sure Dan Hooker's cleared to fight and everything now. But we need to see this fight. There's no way this fight would be boring. I think it would be just a fucking fun one, especially 5 rounds. I want to see 5 rounds of Bobby Green striking. I don't want to see 5 rounds of Bobby Green getting mauled. Not that that ended up happening against Grant Dawson. He ended up knocking Grant Dawson the fuck out, which nobody predicted. I bet you can't find a YouTube channel that predicted Bobby Green by first round KO in sub fucking 1 minute KO. Like, I bet you there's nobody in the world who predicted that. And if they did, they're a goddamn liar. But we need this fight. Bobby Green versus Dan Hooker. That UFC Auckland card could be a fucking banger. I know a lot of people want to see Dan Hooker versus Dustin Poirier. I don't think Dustin Poirier is going to take that fight. I really doubt it. I don't think he's going to fight Dan Hooker again. If he does, he's at risk. He's got a good resume. If I'm Dustin Poirier, I'm fighting guys I haven't fought before. Why would you go and risk ruining your legacy and, having another loss to a guy you've already beat? He already did that with Justin Gaethje, and look how that played out. I think Dustin Poirier is going to want to be a bit smarter, fight somebody he hasn't fought before. So, and even then, I don't think he would want to go and travel to Auckland to fight Dan Hooker again anyway. So I think you do Dan Hooker versus Bobby Green. Maybe you do that main event UFC Fight Night Auckland, or you could just have this on a pay-per-view. Oh my god, that pay-per-view is already really stacked though in December. So maybe you could have him fight December 2nd or something like that, or I don't know. I just want to see this fight. Even then, Bobby Green's probably not even going to get a fight in December if we're being honest. Like, I imagine that the December is almost completely filled up at this point. But if we can make it happen, Bobby Green's probably going to be number 10 now in the rankings, and I think Bobby Green versus Dan Hooker makes all the sense in the world. Winnable matchup for both men as well. And what's Dan Hooker in the rankings anyway? Because I know Grant Dawson was calling to fight Dan Hooker next. So I'd imagine Dan Hooker's like what, number 8, I think? Or is he lower? He's number 9. So he's number 9. So it's not even like a crazy step back for Dan Hooker. I think it makes a lot of sense. Dan Hooker, 2-fight winning streak, Claudia Puleles and Jarlin Turner, and then Bobby Green just not knocked out. He subbed Tony Ferguson, and then he knocked out Grant Dawson. So I think it makes all the sense in the world. Let's do it. Grant Dawson, he can go fight. Oh, fuck, who knows who he's going to fight. He won't fight anyone from ATT. Maybe he can give Grant Dawson the winner of Benoit Saint Denis versus Matt Frivola. I think that makes sense. So yeah, that's what you can do for Grant Dawson because the winner of that's going to need to step up, I reckon. So yeah, that would make sense. And then yeah, like I say, fucking not Grant, Bobby Green versus Dan Hooker, Fight Night Auckland main event, 5 rounds. Come on, who says no? 5 round slugfest. Like Dan Hooker always in entertaining fights, Bobby Green always in entertaining fights. And it would just be cool to see. Like honestly, it'd just be cool to see. They both fought everyone, but they haven't fought each other. So I think it would be a perfect fight to make. So UFC, Sean Shelby, Mick Maynard, Dana White. If you're watching this video, if you're watching Benny P MMA, or my Benderman 2001, make this fight. Do it for the people. Like who says no? Tell me who says no to Dan Hooker versus Bobby Green next? Like come on, 5 rounds of Bobby Green versus Dan Hooker would never be boring. That would be a fucking sick fight. Please, MMA gods, let's make this happen. Let's all give a prayer to the MMA gods that this happens because I want to see this fight. And who knows if Bobby Green wins? We're looking at like a Bobby Green versus Michael Chandler, Bobby Green versus Conor McGregor. Like these are the fights we're getting to if he was to beat Dan Hooker. Like not even kidding. Bobby Green could make like a shit ton of money in the later stage of his career if he was to go in there and beat Dan Hooker. Like it's crazy. It's crazy where we're getting at with this. This win has shook up the division. Like Bobby Green in the rankings is fucking gonna be good. It's gonna be fun. He's gonna fight everybody. But yeah, that's all I got to say. If you made it this far into the video, make sure you give this one a like. Let me know your thoughts on a potential Dan Hooker versus Bobby Green matchup. I don't even know who I'd have. I think I'd lean Dan Hooker. I think he'll probably win. His leg kicks would probably do a lot of damage to Bobby Green. I think the leg kicks would be a big factor. But who knows? Maybe Bobby Green just starches him like he did Grant Dawson. Seems like Bobby Green's developed fucking KO power in his older age. You know, he TKO'd Al Quinta. Al Quinta had never been TKO'd, and fucking here comes fucking Bobby Green. But yeah, like I said, that's all I got to say. But like I said, if you made it this far, give this video a like. Let me know your thoughts on the matchup in the comment section below. And if you're not already, subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you. Bellator 300. So I'll be watching some of that. Probably make some reaction videos to some of the fights. And yeah, I'll see you then. Thank you.